Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, the future of Deontay Wilder is being speculated amongst boxing fans right now. It appears that the third fight with Tyson Fury is all but dead, and it has me wondering where Deontay Wilder goes from here. You know, quite frankly, I think Deontay Wilder not rematching Tyson Fury is the best course of action for his career. I think he needs to rebuild, learn a few new things, and then come again and try to fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. My problem with Deontay Wilder is how he's handled this whole situation, how dishonest he's been since that February loss to Tyson Fury. But I've made a video on that. You know, you can find that on my channel. I uploaded that yesterday. But enough of that. Where does Deontay Wilder actually go from here? Well, one rumour that is circulating right now in regards to his next opponent is Charles Martin. Of course, Charles Martin is the former IBF heavyweight champion of the world, and this rumour was started by Fernando Vargas Jr. He's obviously the son of Fernando Vargas, who once upon a time was a great fighter. But Fernando Vargas Jr. put a post out on Instagram which included a photo of him and Charles Martin, and in the caption he says, "Working alongside the former IBF champion of the world, Charles Martin, stay tuned for his next fight against bronze bomber Deontay Wilder." That is what Fernando Vargas Jr. put on Instagram, and it's got people talking. Will this actually transpire? Is it realistic? I mean, it's hard to say, but both guys are with the PBC. Both guys are American, you know, and it's a makeable fight. It's an easily makeable fight. So from that perspective, I certainly believe this fight has legs. And also, one thing to consider, Charles Martin is actually quite highly ranked with the IBF. So that makes it an attractive opponent for Deontay Wilder to get back against. Ultimately, Charles Martin, he brings that high ranking, but he also brings a very beatable style. Charles Martin, in my opinion, is not really a top 10 heavyweight. He's a very flawed fighter. You know, he got beat by Adam Kownacki on points. He got stopped by Anthony Joshua in 2 or 3 rounds, whatever it was. You know, the guy is not a top-level fighter, but he brings a top-level ranking. So from that perspective, I think this fight makes a lot of sense for Deontay Wilder's comeback. Easily beatable. He brings a real high ranking within the IBF. And while I don't really rate Charles Martin as a world-level fighter, he's not terrible either. So all in all, it wouldn't be a bad fight for Deontay Wilder to come back with. Again, if I was Deontay Wilder, if I was managing Deontay Wilder, I would not concentrate on a third fight with Tyson Fury. I would avoid that fight and basically rebuild. And one way you need to rebuild is get yourself high up in the rankings, so by the time Joshua and Fury have fought maybe once or twice, after that, you're in a great position to fight for those titles. Beating Charles Martin will give Deontay Wilder a high ranking in the IBF, and he can build upon that, maybe have a final eliminator against somebody. I believe Michael Hunter is also highly ranked in the IBF, so beat Charles Martin, maybe they order a final eliminator against Michael Hunter. Deontay Wilder, as bad as his performance was against Tyson Fury in February, he can certainly work his way back up to a heavyweight title shot. And I think he can actually do it a lot easier than people actually imagine, providing he's matched right, etc. And obviously, you know, after Charles Martin, you could be looking at someone like Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm sure that fight in America would be a massive fight. That would be on pay-per-view. Andy Ruiz Jr. brings that Hispanic audience. Deontay Wilder has a big fan base in America. So if you put those two guys together after Charles Martin, that's a big fight. So listen, as bad as Deontay Wilder was in February, there is certainly a route back for him, and there are some big fights for him to take. The only real question mark in regards to Deontay Wilder is how he responds when he takes these big fights against legitimate opponents in the heavyweight division. Even now, I would be certain he's got enough to deal with a Charles Martin, but a Michael Hunter and Andy Ruiz Jr., guys who are serious, I'd be very doubtful of Deontay Wilder. I'd be doubtful of where his mind is right now when he fights top-level competition, but I'm sure we're going to find that out in the near future. But as for comeback fights, I don't think Charles Martin would be the worst opponent in the world, if I'm being honest. Maybe the winner of Adam Kownacki versus Robert Helenius could be another good shout for Deontay Wilder. These sort of fights are very winnable comeback fights for Deontay Wilder, but the question is what happens after that. What happens when he steps up to the elite level again? Will the same flaws present themselves, the same weaknesses? I believe more than likely they will. But proof is in the pudding, and we'll find out within time. It's going to be interesting to see where Deontay Wilder goes from here, and I can certainly see legs in a potential Charles Martin comeback fight. But anyway, share your thoughts below. Do you actually have any interest in this sort of fight? Would you watch it? Share your thoughts below. Tell me your thoughts. Peace.